Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt. So I've been thinking for longer than usual, by far, so about like a few minutes. So I'm more of a spontaneous doer than a thinker by quite a bit, right? But I've been thinking about the purpose, the meaning behind the last, it would be less than 3 years, it'd be about 2 years and 3 quarters now of my life. What it has all meant. And at a cursory glance, I believe cursory would be the word. I mean, just a quick glance, just a quick, uneventful glance at things. A lot of it could be inherently perceived as manipulative. Meaning upon myself, of course. The process that I went through that manipulated me. That's not a good thing, right? It's been manipulated as to lose your own self. Yet what I keep on telling myself is there's millions upon millions upon millions of people. In fact, there's billions of people dealing with mental health problems. And in a way, when we enter the realm of issues and troubles, maybe we all kind of go through a process. Of course, there's the right to talk about it and all that. But there's just something interesting to consider. Because I believe that my process, beyond just having the right to talk about it, I believe that this process that I've been going through is actually quite massively significant. And what saddens me is just yesterday I recorded this take that I'd like to pay homage to, meaning a vlog like this, right? I just spoken, and the next morning I lost interest because I'm a very spontaneous kind of person and I lose empathy and heart for what I do, anything that is in music and writing. So these really, I lose happiness for the result. Then I simply let go. I let go of the past. As it is simply that exactly. You know, I'm kind of sad about it now because there's one point that's been roaming in my mind. There's a very real truth at that point, but I'll get to it. So, word sharing, I just want to thank you before I continue, just quickly, for having the open mind to watch me. It's a very big deal. So, shouts out to you. Now, where do I start? You know, you could argue that everyone goes through a process in life. Just by existing, just so you can argue that anyone in particular, but particularly a process that has a deeper meaning that revolves around the mind's working. That's my point. It's probably a very small number. In fact, in so many ways, the process I've went through, I'd consider myself to be one of the only ones, if not the only one, probably the only one, who would have ever actually been through such a thing. Because the thing is this part of it is really huge to me. I consider my mind to be an extremely powerful, amazing thing. What like that does not just mean like the mind. Because for some people, their minds they just hate them or something like that, or they're just automated or something. Because if you really think about it, to actually grow a mental health issue, it must pertain to the mind, of course. So then you assume, oh, the mind is extremely intelligent. Well, then with extreme intelligence, does it have sentience? No, we're the sentient ones. Well, consider your mind as a sentient tool. For me, it's applied perfectly because I sometimes talk to my mind. It speaks to my thoughts, and I think really in the way I do it, without the outside involvement, I think I'm the sole one on the planet that really has a mind like mine. No, I'm not a very successful guy at all. In fact, I'm a barely successful guy. But you know, maybe the point is that there's something magical awaiting all of us. I've believed in this quite significantly. I get announcements daily from my surroundings, and the very latest announcements have been about how I have been capturing the world. That does not mean that I've been in the spotlight. I mean that I've literally been owning universes. I've been owning worlds. I've been owning planets. Which seems such a grandiose, exuberant idea. Yet I could swear that when it's completely repeated over and over, through the duration of months, if not years, really, it would be years. At first hinted at, and then straight up said. And I could start as the process continues and you see the numbers that I'm given raising higher and higher, they raise higher and higher. Eventually it's simply the 100%, which has been for a while now. I could start that at that point, if you are, let's just say if you were in my shoes and you had experienced my take and my tale, you maybe wouldn't think I'm so crazy for coming up with a claim like that. You maybe think I'm quite sane for it. In fact, you'd probably agree with me a bit more than I agree with myself. That's just the truth of things. Because I really want you to consider, well, the human brain gives us life. Yet it is assumed that we're a coincidence. Water is the foundation of liquid. Yet it is assumed that it's a coincidence, even though it breathes from the sky. Raindrops fall everywhere. And it kind of refills. It's funny how coincidental that is, right? It kind of refills the oceans. And because of that, we have water for a very, very long time. And I just think at that point it's already kind of surprising. Well, we survive history. We got to the point where we couldn't see ourselves some more than a mirror. We could see ourselves through our phone, through our cellular. When even 20 years ago, seeing yourself through your cellular was an asinine assumption. Or maybe not asinine, it was a thing to come, but for some people it would have been pretty asinine. The fact that technology just went from not existing to just fucking uphill climbing. I'm surprised that we don't think that our lives have as much purpose as maybe like a so-called God from the past, I'm surprised that we don't cherish that part of things more if we can cherish it at all. Because technology is meant to give comfort. There's downsides to it. I cannot deny it. No one denies that shit. It has to do with the business side. The consumer products are driven by the business foundation. So as businesses create products, well, there are always downsides to that side of things. And it's mostly through the web, the internet. The most beautiful invention yet. The most strenuous invention. But when you really think about it, before the internet, how did we, like, I was gonna say Google Words. That's how indebted it is in our fabric, right? I'm not a Google fanboy or anything, yet I still say Google Words. You had to either pick up your dictionary, or you had to walk to a library and get a dictionary. And to us, at that point, it wasn't such a big thing. It was a small thing, right? But now it would be seen as a very big thing. Or maybe it was whatever, it doesn't matter. I've thought of myself as someone that has arrived at a very good time, because I could not stand the thought of arriving as a baby boy 100 years in the past. It would simply hurt me, because then I wouldn't have what I seek, right? I wouldn't have the technological grasp on things. Like, I wouldn't be able to game out. I might hear some music here and there, who knows, but that's about it. Entertainment is an ingrained part of our society, so that's why I find it surprising that we evolved from just being cavemen to actually being akin to some form of technological prosperity. And people see it as a coincidence. Again, just driving me to my next point. Just that I just kind of want to. There's no actual stats on my end, right? But I just kind of want to make the point that yes, these are ideals that are ingenious. These are ideals that can be thought of regardless. But is it really all a coincidence? Just the fact that we have every material that we need, at least that in terms of what we can think of. We have every material we need. Hell, fucking drugs grew from the ground and all that, and we still use them today. Marijuana, the big thing. Shrooms, a very big thing as well. And all of these things were just on the earth. They were just on the earth. And we just take it for granted. No, it's just supposed to happen like that. Yeah, of course there's water. What do you mean, of course there's water? Because it keeps us alive. Well, then fucking think about it. Of course there's water because it keeps us alive. Why should we be considerate? Right? Like, if the birth of the earth is spontaneous, it just happens just because. Why not? And it happens to make life happen for a species that can actually fly far past its own realm of existence and visit the universe. Well, I mean, for something as grandiose and magical as the Big Bang Theory and the creation of the universe and so on to simply happen, there has to be an understanding within the universe of us. I guarantee it. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. Because to birth planets that can have life on them means to acknowledge life. It's proven. If you look at some of the planets, they do not even have hard surfaces. So therefore, it's proven that like why couldn't Europe have been the same way? You get what I mean? Why couldn't Europe have been the same fucking way? Temperature is exactly accommodating to humanity. It is precisely, minus maybe some excessive heat, which is being worked on. It is accommodating to humanity. At a point where we can fly past the Earth, and at a point where we have technology, and at a point where we are at our most sentient, probably our most rational, Definitely are more socially developed. And I'm here. And I hate the notion that because like forget your conceptions of reality, okay? Because the notion would be because I don't have success in life, it means I could not make a miracle happen. Because I don't have success in life, it means I could not make a miracle happen. Why should it make a difference? I really want you to consider that. Because here's my argument as I'm putting it forward. One day I will change the world. To a magical means, to an impossible means. One day I will make something appear out of thin air. This is because I own everything. This is my argument to you. I don't literally own everything. Mario, Zelda, they're owned by Nintendo. Trademark brands, corporations, all own their own things. And then people own their own abodes, their houses and all that. But in the grander scheme of the universe, I own everything. This is my argument. And when you take a walk, and suddenly you think to yourself a miracle because you are shown that you will lower the rain by 2/3, and suddenly the rain starts pouring much less heavily at that exact time. Never mind dozens of quote unquote, you can tell at this point I don't believe in fucking coincidences. I believe everything happens for a reason. But let's say the dozens of so-called coincidences. I mean, there's too many in my life in the last 2 years and 3/4, okay, for me to ignore all of it and to proclaim it as just a hoax. And as insulting as this will sound to me, as schizophrenic delusions and hallucinations. Once upon a time, I dealt with schizophrenia. Let's just say that. I still don't. I want to still do. The voices have been too much. They've been too evidently there for a reason for me to say I deal with schizophrenia. It's simply not the truth to me. So, the concept of life implies that it is a very complex affair. It is a very, this can be for so many reasons. It is a very potent thing. It is a very massive thing to have life. I just find it funny that a universe that is so complex and a world that is so multifaceted and all that breeds out of people barely having a standing with technology, but more importantly with their own selves, people being completely preconceived to be like reckless. I just find it funny that it would go from that to this, and people think, it's simply societal progression, which yes is an extremely valid term in some ways. We progress as people, we do, but there's too many things that are unexplained, even considering that perspective, even considering that front of things. That side of things, I mean. Yeah, I just threw that in there. I just realized I'll make something appear out of thin air because guess what? I became a baby during my trip, and I refuse to believe at this point that life even makes sense. That's the real deal, dude. So about a month into my trip, okay, I call it my trip. I'm not tripping out to fucking, I'm not having a trip out to Jamaica or something. That's not what I mean. My trip, as in my call it my psychotic trip, call it my psychic trip, alright? Let's say my psychic trip, just for my sake. So about a month into my psychic trip, I form myself into a baby's body. I literally hallucinated because I refuse to believe that my body became smaller. Okay, but I morphed into a smaller body. I'm not exactly sure how it all happened, but I morphed into a smaller body. I've never shared this before because, as stupid as it's going to sound, I'd simply forget to do so. I wanted to do it once or twice. If I had remembered, I would have done it before. But I really needed to share this because it's a very real truth. So I hallucinated myself becoming a baby. And there's still so many people going, oh, that is just the trippiest hallucination. Good thing you're on medication, which I am. Good thing you're on medication and that you've stabilized since. Because that is just such a horrendous hallucination. You want to know what the truth about that is? I was terrified to shit, okay? But I just want to make something clear. You know, Muhammad, I think it's Muhammad is in the Quran. Look up the Quran, okay? I think it is Qurn, something like that. Because I have a friend who's used to be a devout Muslim follower, and now he is kind of not really into that as much anymore. But that is a man who wrote his prophecies. Okay, the creator of that book is a man who wrote his prophecies by being communicated through to an external force. That man lives in the modern age. He speaks to the camera like I do, and he tells of his prophecies. And he says, they're communicated to me. Everyone thinks it's schizophrenia. You know, why do we have such an open mind for the past and yet have a very closed mind for the present? Isn't that a point to consider? Anyways, I just wanted to share all that because I actually transformed into a baby, and I'm convinced that and everything else that has happened to me, because there was a point in it, there was a massive point in it. I'm not quite sure what it is just yet, but I'll ask myself someday and I'll get told the truth. And yeah, you know, I love you. Not even the whole video, not a single peep from the outside. Very big deal for me. But it's kind of mostly been like that. But regardless, a very big deal. Thank you and take care. And I might have just cured myself. Especially long term. I've been doing, I think I've cured myself. And potentially the fucking world. And that's a very big thing for me. Of course, me first and foremost. Just kidding. Anyways, see ya.